Hello, thank you very much for taking the time to view this recording. This is a recruitment information event for the role of contact officer with Devon and Cornwall Police as you take your first steps towards what will hopefully be a very new and exciting career. My name is Paul Hutton. I am a senior resourcing officer within the recruitment team in Devon and Cornwall Police, and I'm delighted to say that there are a number of other colleagues on this call, and they will also introduce themselves as the session progresses. So the next slide, I'm going to talk to you about what we will cover in the next 30 to 40 minutes, so you know exactly what to expect. So firstly, we're going to tell you some information about the department and the actual role itself, as well as the police code of ethics. We will then move on to information about the actual recruitment and selection process itself. There will be a short input about positive action. Then we'll invite in a member of the training team to talk about how the training works. And then I'm really pleased to say that we've got Dan, who's one of our contact officers, and he will talk to you firsthand about his experience in the role, the department, and the really positive aspects and all of the challenges. So hopefully you can gain a real insight into what this role is about. So overall, the purpose of this session is to provide you with all the information about all of these areas and give you a real insight into the role. We're now going to show you a short introductory video from Commander Lucy Bailey, and then we will go on to Rachel, who will then talk to you about the contact centre and the actual role itself.
Hello, my name is Lucy Bailey and I am the Commander of Contact and Resolution within Devon and Cornwall Police. A very warm welcome to you. It's great to have you here as part of this awareness event so that we can share some information with you about the current opportunities that we have available within our control room for application. Our control room really does support the effective policing operation across both Devon and Cornwall. It is the place in which we take in over 1 million contacts from members of the public each year, both emergency and non-emergency, and it is the place from which incidents are managed and overseen, and that we ensure that we dispatch the appropriate policing response to those who need it the most. Our resource and incident management officers and our contact officers are an absolutely essential part of an effective policing response across both counties. If you do decide to apply and you do join us, and there are a number of things that I can guarantee you about the role that you go into. Number one, no day is ever going to be the same. You'll walk into work each day and you won't know what is going to be waiting for you. Some days are challenging, some calls are challenging. But they are also incredibly fulfilling and roles in which you can make a real difference. Number two, every single day that you come to work, you'll be helping somebody. Probably somebody you're never going to meet, possibly somebody you're never going to speak to again, but you will be helping somebody and you will be that difference in that person's life. Number three, you will save lives. You might even save two in a particular shift. You might not even know that you've saved somebody's life, but you will do. Number four, you'll work amongst an absolutely incredible team who are committed to providing a really high quality service to the public. The team ethic in the control room is incredibly strong and you could be a part of that. And number five, once you join us, you have career opportunities that are opened up in front of you and you can select where you want to take that career. We'll support you in your development to take you where you want to go. So if that sounds like you, if it sounds like something that you would like to be a part of, please do submit an application and we'll very much look forward to hearing from you. Thank you for listening and good luck.
Hello, my name is Rachel Whitmarsh and I'm an operations manager within the department. And I'm just going to give you a little bit of an overview of the department and what we manage here. So we have two force contact centres. One is based in Exeter in our Middlemore estate, and one is based in Crown Hill in Plymouth. Each site has the same structure and if successful, you'll be based at one of these locations. Responsibility for the Force Contact Centre is to manage both the non-urgent demand, whether that be 101 voice calls, emails, web chat, or the 999 emergency service for Devon, Cornwall and the Isles of Scilly. Calls come in to both centres from across the entire force area, so you could be managing contacts anywhere from Penzance right up to North Devon. We have funding for 194 contact officers. The other side of our business is the dispatch of police officers to incidents, and we employ roughly 140 resource and incident management officers to undertake that role. Plus, there'll be supervisors, sergeants and inspectors in the room. It's a very busy department. In excess of 1 million contacts every year come in via our different contact types. This represents at least 80% of all contact that comes into the force. Other means would be via our front offices or police officers on the ground. Our demand is very seasonal. We have an estimated population of 1.77 million, and our demand increases so much in the summer months. We have the second highest level of tourism across the 43 forces in England and Wales. The only force with more high levels of tourism is London. If we spread this demand across the whole year, it equates to 125,000 extra people every day, and that results in an 18% increase in 999 calls and roughly a 22% increase in our 101 calls. As a contact officer, which you're applying for, you will be asked to work 24/7, 365 days the year. So we work shifts to achieve this, 6 days on and 4 days off. That's generally 2 earlies, 2 lates, 2 nights and 4 rest days. You'll be responding to both emergency and non-urgent demand, whether that's on the phone, via email or on our web chat system. You'll be able to be based in either Exeter or Crown Hill in Plymouth. The role is very demanding though, and I want to just spend a few moments talking about that. You will hear from one of our contact officers later in the presentation. You will manage a diverse range of contacts, from my TV isn't working through to domestics, serious RTCs and suicides. And some of that may unfold while you're on the line. So you need to be resilient, as you will hear some traumatic incidents. The role, of course, is very rewarding, as you've heard Lucy Bailey talking about, and we have lots of support mechanisms in place. In terms of benefits, the starting salary for the role, including the 20% shift allowance, is currently £27,720 with yearly increments. You get up to £2,500 a year, which is claimable for weekend working. The shift allowance is paid as soon as you start doing shifts, which is after the classroom training phase, which we'll talk about a bit later. Annual leave starts at 24 days plus bank holidays and goes up to 30 after 5 years of service. At the start of your employment, you'll be automatically enrolled in the local government pension scheme administered by Peninsula Pensions. It's a huge benefit for those working within the police service. Other benefits can include free on-site parking, although that is limited in our Crown Hill station. You will be provided with a uniform for free. You can have access to our on-site gyms and gyms around the force for about £3.50 a month. The gym has really great equipment, similar to you find in an average gym. So that's actually very good value for money. Eye care vouchers are available, which entitles you to a free eye care test every year. You can also join the Blue Light Card scheme for £4.99, which lasts for 2 years. It's a discount service for the emergency services, providing members with thousands of discounts online and on the high street in shops and restaurants. You'll be asked if you wish to join a union, and that's Unison or GMB, and they provide free legal, career, financial advice, support and protection. We recognise that it's been a challenging environment for some following COVID, and a lot of organisations have made redundancies. I just want to reassure you that we will always need people to answer our 999 and 101 calls, and this role is not affected by changes, for example, in the economy. So you can rest assured this is a safe and stable environment and jobs are secure. I'm going to tell you a little bit now about the Code of Ethics and Standards of Behaviour. When you sign up to work for Devon and Cornwall Police, you also sign up to the National Standards of Professional Behaviour and the Code of Ethics. These are set by the College of Policing. It's an integral part of modern policing. The aim is to support each member of the policing profession to deliver the highest professional standards in their service to the public. We police by consent, and to achieve this, the public need to have confidence in us as individuals and the service we provide. These are non-negotiable for police officers and police staff, both in and out of work. You can expect to be held accountable if you breach these standards, and we would also expect that you report and challenge others whose conduct falls below the standards required. I would encourage you all to read and reflect on the standards. If it's something you are unable to comply with, then it's not the right job for you. These standards will be a running theme throughout your career, and you're likely to be asked about it as part of the interview. You'll be able to find the link to the standards on our Force website. I'm going to now pass you back over, and you can hear from our recruitment team about the recruitment process.
Thank you very much, Rachel. So on the slide in front of you now, you can see the entire steps of the recruitment process from start to finish. I'm going to talk through this briefly with you now. The first stage is our online registration and eligibility stage. So please have a look at the police recruitment website for the opening and closing window timeframes in which you have to register. Once you've registered, those of you that are eligible to apply and continue, the first stage is you will take the online situational judgment test, otherwise known as the SJT. And so those of you who are eligible to apply will be invited to complete this through the recruitment portal. And once you've started, you'll have 7 days to complete that test. And stage 3 is the virtual assessment centre. So if you're successful at the SJT, we will then invite you to attend the virtual assessment centre, and that again will be available through the e-recruitment portal. Assuming you have successfully passed stages 2 and 3, we would then invite you to attend an interview. And at the moment, these are still taking place remotely via Microsoft Teams. And again, if eligible, an invitation will be sent to you via the portal where you can book the next available slot. Assuming all that is been successful, then the final part of the process, stage 5, is our employment prerequisite checking stage. This is where we complete all of our final checks on you with things such as vetting, references, medicals, and so on. And we will provide you with more information about that stage through an information event video, which will be sent to you once you get to this stage. And those of you that are successful and have passed stage 5 will be invited to join us on an agreed date in the future. So we tend to bring people in large cohorts so we can do the training. And so this date will be advised to you a bit nearer the time. I'm now going to pass you over to my colleague Joe, and Joe will talk to you in greater detail about those stages that I have just referred to. So welcome, Joe.
Thank you, Paul. Welcome everybody. My name is Joanne Pantelli. I am a resourcing officer within the recruitment team. So as Paul mentioned, stage 1 of the process is completion of the online eligibility and registration. So you will need to register on Olio, and this is our e-recruitment system, and all updates to you will then come from the system. You'll be asked questions about you, such as your contact details and national insurance number. There'll be some eligibility questions, such as your residency and citizenship, and if you have any cautions or convictions. So if you do have any criminal convictions or cautions, we ask that you let us know. This includes any traffic convictions, such as speeding. Convictions and cautions won't necessarily preclude you from becoming a contact officer, but it will depend on the nature. But failure to disclose anything, this will. So just let us know. And if you can't remember all the details, please just provide us as much information as you can. You will also need to declare any finances. And again, I cannot reiterate how important it is to provide as much information as possible. So we are proud to be accredited as a disability confident employer. And if you do have a disability, you can inform us if you wish to apply under this scheme. And once you have done so, you will need to provide us with just brief details of your disability and the reasonable adjustments that you require in order to be guaranteed an interview. This is provided that you meet the minimum requirements of the role for which you are applying. Following that part, you'll be asked to complete a short equality opportunities form and then complete the declaration. So once you've completed the eligibility and registration, you will need to complete the situational judgment test, also known as the SJT. This will be available through the e-recruitment system. So the SJT is completed online and is designed to assess your judgment and decision-making skills in relation to potential situations you may experience as a contact officer. So you will be presented with several scenarios based on interactions between contact officers and members of the public. And you will then be given 4 actions to rate in terms of their effectiveness in addressing the scenario. So from effective to counterproductive. So I can recommend you allow time to complete the assessment and ensure that you are in a quiet space to avoid any distractions. So you will have 7 days to complete this test from once you've completed your application stage and signed the declaration, and will be available through the portal. So if you are successful at the SJT, you will then be invited to complete the virtual assessment centre through an external assessment provider called SHL. And the link to complete this will also be available through the e-recruitment system. So the test itself has 2 contact centre simulations based on interaction with members of the public in a customer service environment. You will take 2 calls from simulated customers with queries that need resolving. You'll need to navigate the system, select the appropriate responses, and type the relevant information accurately. The virtual assessment centre is designed to measure your ability to listen attentively, the ability to take ownership of and resolve customer issues, ability to navigate, find and enter information accurately. And this does include measuring typing ability, and this is a pass or fail element of the process. How you respond in a variety of customer situations, your computer skills in a contact centre setting, learning potential, and then tendency to meet goals and work hard when faced with obstacles. So you do have 7 days to complete this test once you have completed the SJT. And then once you've completed it, please do not click Start Test again, as this will delay the results being processed. Simply refresh the page where your results will be processed, and this can take up to 48 hours. Once you've completed both the assessments, you will then be asked to complete, you'll be asked to book on for a interview slot, and then we'll be really grateful for this. I'm now going to hand you over to Paul, who will take you to talk to you about positive action. Thank you and good luck.
Thank you very much indeed, Joe. So I'm just going to talk to you briefly now about positive action. As it says on the slide in front of you there, what is it? So positive action is a range of measures and initiatives that we can lawfully take to encourage people who are underrepresented in our police numbers to join us, and provisions are made for this within the 2010 Equality Act. It's important for me to stress positive action is not positive discrimination. Positive discrimination means employing someone just because they come from an underrepresented group, giving an unfair advantage over others, but this is unlawful. Positive action supports people with protected characteristics up to the point of application. Once the application process begins, everybody is treated fairly with the same scoring system. So to be absolutely clear, no one with a protected characteristic will have an advantage in the recruitment process. So on the slide in front of you, you can see the groups that are currently underrepresented within Devon and Cornwall Police. If you fall into any of these groups, you can apply for positive action support. It will only take a few minutes And in return, the team will seek to help you with one-to-one support, talk through eligibility for jobs, assign you a mentor, and help you prepare for the actual application process. And it's important that if you wish to apply for positive action support, you do this prior to starting the application form process for this role. And I will put the link in the final slide, but the link is also available on the police recruitment website. We're now going to look at training, and I'm going to pass you back to Rachel, who's going to talk to you about the training process. So welcome back, Rachel.
Thank you, Paul. So I'm just going to tell you a little bit about what you can expect from the training process. It's a 12-month long process on average for contact officers here at Devon and Cornwall Police. You will start with approximately 5 weeks of classroom training to teach you the fundamentals of emergency call taking. So you'll be covering topics such as vulnerability, risk assessment, grading and deployment, as well as call types such as domestic abuse, road traffic collisions, missing people, sexual offences, to name a few. You'll also be trained in our force IT systems, and you'll be given an opportunity to practice taking mock calls in a safe environment before taking live 999 calls from members of the public. You'll be trained and supported throughout this phase by experienced trainers. Once you've finished your classroom training, you will move into phase 2, which is an intensive tutoring period for 999 calls. You'll be taking calls from the public while being heavily supported by an experienced member of staff that is also a trained tutor. The tutor will help you develop your call taking and help you transition to become independent in 999. During phase 2, you'll return to the classroom to undertake a course in non-emergency element of the role. So you'll learn how to take crime reports and manage 101 calls. You'll return to tutoring with an experienced tutor who will support you to become independent, dealing with those different contact types. Phase 3 of the training process is when you start working independently within your section. During this phase, you'll have regular learning reviews and support meetings, as well as completing continual professional development alongside your section colleagues. Phase 4 is where you gain probation sign-off. So once that's done, you'll be able to continue your career as a contact officer here at Devon and Cornwall, knowing that you've covered all the aspects that you need to cover and to the standards that we require. However, it's always a learning process here. Every day is different, new policies are introduced. So being able to take on new information and be supported by your colleagues around you is really important. We'll cover more on the training process in our next video, which is following the initial recruitment prior to your interview. I'm going to hand you over now to Dan, who's one of our experienced contact officers, who's going to give you an overview of what a day in the life of a contact officer might look like. Thank you, Dan.
Hello, my name's Dan. I've been in the Devon and Cornwall Police Force for almost 3 years in the role as a contact officer, based here at Crown Hill Station in Plymouth. So the role, as has been mentioned quite a few times, is very varied. Each day is never the same. We manage contacts from members of the public via phone, either 999 emergency calls or 101, and we also receive online reports, web chats, and also emergency text messages. It can vary from someone sort of having issues with neighbours and low-level crimes to someone that may be suicidal, or someone being a victim of a sexual offence that may have just happened. So the calls can be completely different depending on who you're speaking to and what is going on for them at that time. There's a lot of support available in the rooms, so if you're sort of stuck with decision making or you don't know where to go, there's obviously experienced members of the team in the room. You have supervisors that can help with decision making, and then when there's sort of higher risk scenarios, we also have the sergeants and force incident manager that can help with those decisions. So we obviously some examples of calls that we've I've taken. So we've received obviously a lot of abandoned calls where calls are put down before before it's connected to us, or potentially like this example where I had an abandoned call come through to me. Whether the call was intentional or not, I could hear an ongoing domestic in the background. So I was luckily able to complete research on the number and get officers to the address, where we did find that there was an ongoing domestic incident, and I was able to assist getting the officers to that address. And I kept the line open because no one was engaging, so I could update officers all the way to them getting to the door with what was going on, and there was a positive outcome for that incident. Obviously, we get a lot of being Devon and Cornwall and a lot of rural areas. We get a lot of loose animals that like to venture on the roads, and some of the strangest ones we've had reports of are goats, ostriches, swans, donkeys, along with regulars such as sheep, cows, and horses. So one thing that you will never forget is your first 999 call. Mine wasn't very exciting. It was a stolen push bike, which had happened the day before, and they'd misdialed by calling 999. So therefore, it was signposted to 101, so we could take a full crime report and then get that investigated. There's a lot of opportunities within the department. Myself, I've become a tutor, and there's opportunities to become enhanced crisis communicator and speak to people that are dealing with sort of feeling suicidal or a high risk missing person. There's opportunities to become super users to help implement new systems that come in and new policies, and also then progression opportunities within the department as well. Often the calls that we deal with can be quite distressing, but we obviously, when callers are calling the police, we don't expect to receive abuse from these callers. We help them as much as we can, but if they are being abusive, we're not expected to take that from callers. So there is a lot of support in place on the department, whether that be from your team members, who can hear sometimes if you have taken a distressing call. Obviously your supervisors, we have wellbeing teams, wellbeing dog that comes and visits, chaplaincy that are very good to talk to. Obviously we have other systems such as trauma risk management, who deal with if you're receiving need help for trauma, or other available support available through employee assistance scheme. I've actually used some of these systems myself, and they are very good and do help you to become more resilient in the role. So once you get onto your section, they do vary in size. On my team, there's around 18 team members in Crown Hill, and that's then split into two subsections, which has the equivalent supervisor for each section, and then there's obviously the same then in Exeter for each section. However, I know they do vary in size completely. That's all I've got, so I believe Paul is coming back on.
Thank you very much indeed, Dan. As always, really useful information for us all to hear. I am always in awe of the job that you and your colleagues do, and thank you for taking time out from answering calls this morning to be with us on this particular session. So we've reached the thank you, Dan. Yeah, we've reached the end of the session this morning. I would like to thank you for joining us. A special thanks to all of my colleagues who have given us their input this morning. And just really concluding and summarising what I hope you will have heard and picked up from today's session. You know, this is a very challenging job with no 2 days are the same. However, it's very fulfilling. And as Commander Bailey said at the beginning, you know, you will be helping people, you will be helping to save lives, and you'll become part of that committed team and working with those communities in which we live and serve. There are also fantastic career opportunities that you can use the contact centre as a stepping stone for. So really hoping that you've been inspired by what you've heard over the last 30 or 40 minutes. There is a frequently asked questions page on our website, which you can have a look at. But if this doesn't answer any of your questions, then please feel free to send an email to the address which is on the screen. And for those of you who wish to apply for positive action support, The link is also on the screen, but you're best off going to search on the recruitment page website. Down at the bottom there will be the application process for positive support. So once again, thank you very much indeed for your time in watching today's video. I sincerely wish you the very best of luck with your application. Thank you very much.